I would say the biggest like thing that kind of led me on what I would consider a good path was going away to college.
Love it.
Yeah, I feel like most people like grow up in, their neighborhood, and the people that stay in that neighborhood just miss out on so much life. Like they're kind of in this little box. Whereas I went away to college, and then I was lucky enough to meet some friends who were really into traveling. So I did a lot of traveling.
Same business, different day.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Same Business Different Day podcast. I am your host, Zeke Corley, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be at the Film Hub with good air conditioning because the heat wave is back in San Diego right now. It is summer for real. When this gets released, it might not be, but let you know.
Right now it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot. One of my favorite things about doing this show is interviewing people that have lived multiple lives. Sure, most of us can say we've had multiple jobs since our first job, but few of us can claim like multiple careers. Today, I think we have just that type of guest, and I'm looking forward to learning more about him. We want to welcome Justin Frank to the show.
Hello.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. Thanks for being with us, man. I appreciate it. Now, you didn't grow up in San Diego, did you?
I did not.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Burbank, California.
It's hotter out there, I think.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe not in Vista, but it's inland, It's in the valley.
Yeah. You grew up, so it's kind of Hollywood out there. Did you grow up around the production studios?
Yeah. So Burbank, there's the Tonight Show is filmed there, and they have a lot of studios there. And a lot of my friends' parents were in the industry somehow, whether it was marketing or editing or acting or something.
Did you get to see any of the stuff? I mean, did you ever go to shows, any live shows?
Yeah, I went to some live tapings of things. I saw, what was that show? So I've seen multiple shows taped live.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't there when they like gave away the cars or anything like that?
No. My sister went to a bunch of the Ellen DeGeneres shows. She won some cool stuff.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now, I talked about how hot it is. I can't stop thinking about it, man. It is absolutely insane out here right now.
Yeah.
And
global warming is real.
Yeah. We're going to talk about what you do later. And as we talk about it, one of the things that I'm definitely going to bring up is how easy it is to melt things.
Totally. Yeah.
A lot of mentors growing up, or can you think of mentors that were really impactful on you?
Well, so I listened to a couple episodes of your show, and I was like, oh man, what's he going to ask me?
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, of course. So I was thinking about that before, and I have two entrepreneurs in my life that I think made a pretty big difference. One was my uncle. He owns his own construction company, and he was always the rich uncle, which is a good thing to have. Sure. Like as a kid, you're just like, oh, he's an entrepreneur and he's killing it more than anyone else I know.
Right.
And then one of my friends, Scott Slater, he owns a couple of restaurants, and that's kind of what I started working with him like on a small scale and worked my way up, and that kind of led me to the path that I'm on.
Of kind of the entrepreneur. So you actually had ideas early on of maybe having your own thing.
I always wanted to just be rich, and I figured you're better off working for yourself than working for someone else. I'm not rich yet,
there's
though,
an upside
just for the record.
You say that now.
Yeah, not yet, but we're getting there.
By the time this releases.
Hopefully, yeah.
So did you ever have any like ideas of what you might want to be when you grow up? Did you ever tell anybody? You mean that, you get the general question when you were a kid.
Right. I didn't really know what I wanted to be. Like I said, I just knew I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
I never wanted to struggle. I never wanted to have harsh times. And luckily we didn't have that growing up. Like my mom's a nurse and my dad's a teacher. So like middle class all the way, Burbank, California, middle class neighborhood. But I just wanted to do better.
So they never pushed you in either of those directions, like into the field of medical or into teaching, anything like that?
No, they kind of just let me grow up to what I was going to be, on my own almost. Like obviously always nurturing and loving and stuff, but not pushing me in any direction, just supportive. Yeah.
Probably played sports and stuff too, right?
I did. I played water polo growing up. I was always a swimmer. So my first job, I was a lifeguard. And then I was a swimmer and a water polo player and eventually became a surfer. So the water's always been a big part of my life.
You know, the wine we're drinking today, right, is Mermaid Valley Vineyards. And it's a great Viognier. But the only reason I bring it up is because their daughter plays water polo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and actually I met their coach when I was out tasting one day. Man, what a heck of a sport.
It is
man.
Intense.
And I just can't even imagine that. I mean, I've heard, because when I went to high school, we had a water polo team at Leland High School in San Jose. And my buddy Matthew, he played water polo, and he just tell me his stories about what's going on under the water, man.
They say like 60% of the sport is going on under the water.
Yeah.
You know, it's
amazing, man. I can't even imagine it, man. I passed my swim test, but that's about as far as
all you
I'm
need
going.
to do. Yeah, that's the basics, you know.
So, what about just other early life lessons?
Other life lessons. I'm trying to think. Like, I grew up just like a normal kid, you
Yeah.
know, and like that was one thing I was like struggling with about this podcast. Like, I feel like I'm just a normal guy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, why does anyone want to listen to a podcast about me?
Because of, I mean, your path is your path, right?
Sure.
You've definitely gone to, and I'm sure you've had some forks in the roads, and you could have made decisions going one way, and things turn all the way around for you.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And
Okay, that brought up, I would say the biggest like thing that kind of led me on what I would consider a good path was going away to college.
Love it.
Yeah, I feel like most people like grow up in, you know, their neighborhood, and the people that stay in that neighborhood just miss out on so much life. You know, like they're kind of in this little box. Whereas I went away to college, and then I was lucky enough to meet some friends who were really into traveling. So I did a lot of traveling.
Wow. During your college years.
Kind of after college.
After. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually, this is another little segue. I became a tour guide, an international tour guide.
Wow.
So I did that for 4 years, and that kind of
4 years.
Yeah.
International. So you were based here, and you would do trips out abroad?
Yeah. So the company is called Backroads, and there was 200 of they're called leaders, and when they would take people on trips, then we had trips all over the world, week long hiking, biking, kayaking, outdoor trips.
Wow.
So it just opens you up into so many cultures and so many foods and so many people and so many ways of life. And I think going away to college was kind of step one, you know, like at that point I was the same as everyone else, you know, and then I kind of made decisions that helped me change and evolve and become more in every way.
I like that, man. Yeah. And away to college to you, that was San Diego State,
San
right?
Diego State, yeah.
Okay.
And I applied for 4 colleges, and that was the only one I got accepted to.
But you
so
really,
it made it super easy.
Easy to know where you're going
exactly.
to. And what did you study?
Studied marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man.
Yeah. So
you need to get you your own
used,
podcast. You understand marketing.
For sure. Yeah. And once we start talking about the business, you'll be able to see in our branding and stuff that I think we do a little bit more than the average. We started as, we'll get to that later down the road. Yeah.
I love the branding though.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, the college experience leads you to traveling, and you're out there working abroad and all of that stuff, and then you eventually come back and start working. So tell me, actually, before I get into that, tell me about other jobs. Like, what was your first job? What was your second job?
My first job was a lifeguard.
Jobs? Okay.
Yeah, I was a lifeguard. I did that for 4 summers, and it was just a fun job, you know, and I think that kind of is part of my personality. Like, I'm always having fun, you know, even when I'm doing grunt work or something you don't like, I like to put a smile on my face and make the best of it.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of started me on that path, but I think that's just part of my personality, you know, my persona.
Yeah.
As a happy guy.
Yeah.
So that was the first job. And then I kind of just had some jobs through college. Nothing, you know, I worked at KPPS in fulfillment. It was just a job that my friend worked at, so I was able to get it easy.
Okay.
So I just ship out things to donors. Kind of a nothing job, but
I used to do some telemarketing for them.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have worked for them at some point. So that was an easy job. And then I worked at a restaurant in college. That was my first restaurant job. And I did that for a couple years. And then when I graduated is when I worked for Backroads. And I did that for 4 summers as well. That was a great time of life. I had worked for summers, and then in the winters I would travel. So for 4 years I was on the road. Just had a storage unit and
That's amazing. I mean, I really like the pieces about what you're saying, how education played a part.
For sure.
In your life and in your future. And Alyssa, who is our co-host that isn't here today, but she really likes to, dwell on that as well, like kind of dig into, where'd you study and what influence or impact did that have on your life? And for you to get these experiences, getting around some good people and, travel, and then work abroad, that's just an amazing experience. I mean, you can't replace that. And there's so many people who are here all their life. They're grinding. They're doing their best. And, they're I'm sure, doing well.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like that, just traveling abroad and studying. I wonder if that's still a big thing. Like how much
I think
you can
not
do
with
it now.
coronavirus.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, during coronavirus, there's been way less traveling, obviously.
Yeah, not just the traveling part, but even like people from here going over there, having that kind of a job. I'm a tour guy.
Yeah, the tour guide industry was obviously hit pretty hard too.
I bet.
But going back to what you were saying about college, like I feel like there's two parts of college that I think a lot of people miss or something like that. It's like the educational part, which you can get if you go away to college or if you stay at home and you're going to community college or anything. And the education part is obviously very important. But another big part was just the socialization and the networking and the making friends and kind of whole part of it. I can't discredit the educational part because I use it every day, but I use my network a lot too. And that I was in a fraternity, so obviously that helped.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of like my accountant was in my fraternity. My lawyer was in my fraternity.
Okay.
Like my business partner, he wasn't in my fraternity, but he's a lifelong friend. It's like your network is really important and you get so much more network going away to college and, everyone first day of school, moving in the dorms, that type of thing. And I think, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, having that network is a big piece of it,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I mean, networking is a big part of what we talk about on this show. And, you got to build your network one way or the other, whether you joined a fraternity or not organically, you got to build them. And then once you've built that network, you hold on to those people. You should. Because the longer you've got those people in your network, the more they get to understand you and the more business and stuff that you guys can do together.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's great. So then you told me that you opened a bar?
Established in 2013, Mermaid Valley Vineyard is a boutique winery located in the Ramona Valley AVA. Nestled amongst the mountains just outside of San Diego, Mermaid Valley has abundant sunshine and cooling coastal breezes, making it an ideal location to produce fine wines. We offer estate-produced white, rosé, and red wines. Come out to Ramona and taste the fine wines at Mermaid Valley Vineyards for yourself. Open by appointment at 760-315-9011 or email at mermaidvineyard@gmail.com.
Ignoring squills and warning lights on your car is not a good way to lower the cost of owning it. And going without essential business insurance is not a good way to save money in your business. What we know for sure is doing either will cost you more than you will save in the short and the long run. With YourInsurancePlace.com, you can trust a specialist to help maintain your cars and avoid major expenses. Business owners should look to business insurance specialists when it comes to finding competitively priced, quality insurance coverage for their businesses. At YourInsurancePlace.com, we specialize in workers' compensation, general and professional liability, employment practices and cyber liability, property owner policies, and bonds for most types of businesses. YourInsurancePlace.com knows that we can help. If you're uncovered, need to lower the cost of your current insurance, or need better coverage, we can help. YourInsurancePlace.com has been helping businesses for close to 40 years. If you need a quote on your insurance, call us now at 858-569-8100 or find us at YourInsurancePlace.com. We are business insurance specialists ready to help.
North County Daily Star is the leading source for news and community information along the 78 corridor. It's free to subscribe and it is updated daily. Look for us on your mobile device or computer at ncdailystar.com.
Yeah, so I started my first restaurant, Nick's at the Beach, back in, I was 22 years old, so how many years
ago? Is that Ocean Beach?
They had one in Ocean Beach. The original one was in PB.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first job. Then I worked that for a couple years, worked my way up to manager and server and bartender. And then my friend was opening a restaurant, again, part of my network. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to come and help you out. So I did that with him for a couple months, helped him open it. And then I went to be a tour guide for the summer. Then when I came back for the winter, I was like, hey, I need a job just for a couple months. He's like, yeah, you're always welcome here, you know? So I'd work for a couple months and then go travel, work for a couple months. And then each time I was there, I would work my way up a little bit more. I was a manager. And then finally, when I was done with the Backroads job, I was like, hey, I'm moving back to San Diego. I need a job. He's like, hey, I need a manager. I'm opening a spot in San Diego. Perfect. So I worked with him for a couple years, got that place going. And then he was opening up more locations. So I became the director of new store openings. So I went around and opened up restaurants, did that for a couple years. And then he wanted to open up a new concept completely. So I partnered with him and became an investor and part owner. Yep, and that's where we opened up. It was a restaurant in North Park called S&M, Sausage and Meat.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of a fun tongue-in-cheek type of place. We served exotic meats. We had camel and I don't even remember, but like interesting.
Now, in what area was this?
It was in North Park.
You guys were serving camel.
Yeah.
In North Park. That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it was super fun. And that's where I got connected to the bar scene and doing events. So with S&M, we did Kaboo and we did a bunch of events, and we were realizing we're making a little bit more money in these events than this restaurant, and the rent is cheaper and the labor, blah, blah. So eventually, unfortunately, that restaurant went out of business, and that's when I opened up the current business. Am I allowed to say it yet, or we're going to
let's do it right now. You ready?
Boom.
All right, it's reveal time. So when you think about America's most popular food item, most people might think bacon. And they might be right, but I think that our guest today knew even better. Cheese is not just something you say when you're taking pictures. Justin is making a living with it. The owner of Bread and Cheese Eatery, making comfort food at its finest. From a booth at the farmer's market to multiple brick and mortar locations, Justin has elevated the grilled cheese sandwiches you knew from childhood to a grilled cheese empire. Justin Frank, welcome again.
Thank you. Thanks for that intro. That was awesome.
You like it?
Yeah, it was good.
Now, grilled cheese. I mean, this is a restaurant. Okay, so go ahead and complete.
So
go with your story.
We were, we wanted to get into events, so we wanted to kind of figure out, okay, what should we choose? Sausages are easy because you can fill a grill with them. You can make 1,000 of them at a time.
Right.
Pizza, everyone loves it. Tacos, kill it. But those are all like pretty crowded. There's a lot of sausage vendors, so we wanted to do something else, and we were kind of playing with it. And we decided to go with grilled cheese, and it was really kind of like that simple. Just like, all right, let's go grilled cheese. Let's try it out. So we went to the Cisco test kitchen and brought 10 different types of bread and 20 types of cheese, and we tried it with mayo and garlic and butter, and just kind of perfected our recipes and opened up. And we started off just with food tents. We were at farmers markets and breweries at first, and we just had one tent. It was me and my business partner Devin, who's a childhood friend, and we grew up together.
Love it.
So slowly we were getting invited to festivals and to catering events. So we were like, oh, we need another tent. We need to expand.
Now you're getting invited based on your marketing experience. You're getting invited based on word of mouth. People are hearing, they're tasting.
I think a little bit of everything. Like obviously we had a website and we had a Yelp page with 0 followers and 0 reviews and stuff like that. But we were at every brewery, and everyone that got it, we'd be like, hey, follow us on Instagram. If you like it, follow us. If you like it, follow us. And then, hey, there's a beer festival next week. You should come to that. So like I said, we had to expand. So we got another tent and a couple employees. And then it was still both of us working, but instead of us working together, we're doing 2 events. He did one, I did one.
Right.
And then kind of the next step was like, hey, there's only so many events every weekend, and they're mostly in the summer. So we can't just keep adding, doing bread and cheese. So we added a second tent, and that was Pineapple Crush. So then now at Pride and Comic-Con, instead of just selling grilled cheese sandwiches, we're selling grilled cheese sandwiches and pineapple smoothies. So we wanted to get something that didn't, steal our sales. Like if we did sandwiches, no one's going to buy 2 sandwiches, but people will buy a grilled cheese and a pineapple smoothie.
Complimentary.
Exactly.
Love it.
So we got to the point where we had 5 tents, 2 Pineapple Crush and 3 bread and cheese.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were cranking. We're doing lots of festivals, lots of things going on,
Big
lots of moving parts
too.
Yeah,
We're not talking about small festivals.
Comic-Con, Pride, December nights.
You said Kaboo. That's huge.
Yeah, Kaboo was obviously Kaboo and Comic-Con were our 2 biggest every year, pre-COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
So then the next step was a restaurant, and we opened up a spot in Carlsbad at the Windmill Food Hall.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been there.
And then shortly after that, we got approached to open up a spot in East Village at the Ale Hills Tap House. They own the bar, and we did the food. So it was kind of one of those spots where you can get food and beer at the same spot. We're right next to the Petco Park. And then I'm just going to give the whole story of bread and cheese right now. I'll just keep going.
No, I love it, man.
Okay.
I mean, but at the same time, though, I'm really interested in knowing like what the competition was like, because you've already said there were other sausage places out there, right? There's other types of foods and businesses out there, but you figured out a niche right here with grilled cheese. Now, I mean, and I mean, you have to be competing with some of these kids who grew up like me. You're holding themselves off for dinner. I can make a pretty good grilled cheese sandwich, right? So, but no, it's definitely a food that is welcoming. It's like real comfortable to eat, and you're just bringing in these flavors to make it even better, right? And like you said, you found your recipe. And we're not asking you to give all these secrets right now.
So what we did that made the grilled cheese different. There are other grilled cheese vendors.
Okay.
We got this really high quality bread from a local bakery called Bread and C, and they've been making our sourdough since day one.
That CIE is how you spell it,
and then each sandwich, we have 5 different sandwiches. We make our own sauce. We put the sauce on the outside. It's a mayonnaise-based sauce, but we have a garlic aioli, we have a marinara Parmesan aioli, a Thousand Island aioli. So each one has their own sauce on the outside. Yeah, and then the toppings on the inside. So that's kind of like, so you get that crunchy, flavorful first bite, the cheesy, gooey on the inside, hot off the grill. Yeah, and it, it's a big one. Like it's not Wonder Bread, it's not wheat bread that you'd get at home. It's bread that is made for grilled cheese.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're at these events, Kaboo, Comic-Con, where there's tons of food vendors. So we did have to differentiate ourselves, and one thing that we did that I think is pretty smart is if you see our tent, it says gourmet grilled cheese. It doesn't say bread and cheese, because people know what gourmet grilled cheese is. Sure. If you just see bread and cheese eatery, you're like, I don't know what they serve. Do they, So we made the font as big as we could. So from a distance, you might see, okay, so-and-so food, oh, grilled cheese. So you can see it from a little bit further away.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a difference when, there's 20 food vendors.
That's a good tip right there.
Yeah.
To tell somebody how to work their way around a festival. And that goes for any kind of business, right? Not just necessarily a food vendor, but these tents, if they give you some labeling, use it wisely.
Well, yeah, you get to pick what's on your tent. We created our own tents. So yeah, I think that helped differentiate us, at these events. What was the next question? I forgot what I was talking about.
You were just continuing the story really about going from the farmer's market, which is major. Well, I had another question. Out of the things that you mentioned, going from the farmer's market, you're at these festivals, you got to brick and mortar now. Never food trucks. You didn't mention food trucks.
So that's a good question. We get asked a lot. And I will tell anyone a food truck is a terrible investment. And here's why.
Tell us more.
Yeah. A food truck is going to cost you minimum $80,000. If you want to get a nice one, 120, 150, you can spend $300,000, whatever. Whereas our tent, the whole setup, everything was $10,000. So we were able to open up 5 tents pretty quickly. Whereas if you were doing food trucks, you ain't buying 5 food, food trucks quickly. And then also food trucks you have to take to the commissary, you have to deal with the gray water. If for whatever reason you have engine troubles, your business is, done.
Yep.
Whereas
I've seen that happen too.
For sure. Yeah. Whereas we can just get a different, we can just rent a U-Haul and be like, all right, sweet, we're going to this event. It costs $20 we'll deal with the car later or the trailer later or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, that movie Chef got everyone super excited about food trucks. But I mean, also at an event where, we have the air, we're listening to music, all our employees are happy. If you look at the people in the food truck, they are sweating their ass off.
Yes.
And they're like hunching down because you're 10 feet above whoever's ordering food.
Right.
So you're constantly leaning down like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a far better work investment, and it's a far better, just easy way to get into the business and find out, okay, we're going to do these festivals, and you can find out if your food is good and your product is good, if you're making money.
Yeah.
If no one's coming and they're all going to bread and cheese, you got to change something.
Yeah, I like this, man. That's very good advice, especially just investment wise alone,
totally.
Right?
You want to spend $10,000 to start your business or 80?
But you do see these food truck festivals, right? And you do see, I mean, especially like I'm in the Northwest or something, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're making good money, but can a food truck survive it just around town? Maybe that's a different story.
I think the ones that do well are the ones that are always parked somewhere and they're kind of
know
a
where to
restaurant.
find 'em.
Yeah, they're a restaurant. You're like, oh, I love going to Zeke's Waffles, or whatever. They're always there. You can go there. They have a nice seating area. But if you're driving around, you're going to this place for lunch and then going to that bar for dinner, I promise they're not making that much money.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So then was a brick and mortar, was that really on your radar? Was that something you wanted to do? Considering the success of the food festival, the low investment and everything, now you're in this one place, right?
Yeah, so originally, that wasn't the goal at all, just because I had just come from a restaurant that didn't succeed, and that's why we got into festivals.
Okay.
But, that's why doing the tents is so great, because we tested the brand. And we found out, hey, it's working. People are following us on Instagram. People are hiring us for catering. People are asking, do you have a restaurant every day?
Yes.
So it's like, okay, if we open, we will have business.
Yes.
So the opportunity came to go to a food hall, which is okay, that's pretty much what we're doing, except we're not setting it up every day. It was a small little place, and yeah, people would come and there's 10 food vendors there, but we knew at least we're going to get more than 1 out of 10 people, even though there's 10 food vendors.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
I like your setup too over at the Moonlight Theater.
Yeah.
The local theater, for those of you guys that don't know, is amazing. Right now, they're having their best year. And if you missed Beauty and the Beast,
you missed out, man. It was
really
so good.
Yeah, man. I've just heard such great reviews. I sent the kids over there as well. They had a blast. And, it's their biggest show that they've had. Next, they've got a chorus line. They got another one coming on your feet. So they've got a good thing going, and it's a great setup there. And what's up, San Diego? 2021 has been a year of getting back to work, back to school, back to life. In juggling everything else, you may have found yourself in a cycle of unhealthy habits. And if so, now's the time to break free from that rut. My friends Adam and Kristen at Crossroads Juice are here to help you live a healthier lifestyle. A local company with one thing in mind: bring organic nutrition to all. They deliver 100% raw, cold-pressed organic juice and other goodies to your San Diego doorstep. While using local produce sourced from organic farmers in Southern California, Crossroads creates powerful and delicious nutrition. You'll feel energized, clear-minded, and lighter on your feet, in my case, my bike. It's the perfect boost to get me through my day and help me recover from my rides. Not only that, it tastes amazing. And they deliver. I'm currently hooked on the juice called Hotel Del, which has fresh white peaches, lemon, ginger, and mint. If you are ready for a change and want to kickstart a healthier lifestyle or maintain what you've already started in a convenient way, try Crossroads Juice. You can find them online at www.crossroadsjuice.com. CROSSROOTS juice.com. They're hooking you, our listeners, up with a unique promo code: BUSINESS. That's right. This will get you 20% off your first order. Always free delivery in San Diego with orders over $40. So now's the time to get your health back on track with this masterpiece of nature. Crossroadsjuice.com. Use promo code BUSINESS. Crossroads Juice. Do what matters. Be well, my friends.
The Film Hub is the future of co-working right in downtown Vista. Get energized to go to a safe work environment that is clean and sanitized. Create video content, live stream events, and all of your marketing material in our audio and video facility. The Film Hub. Do your best work here.
The guy there.
We're the concessionaires there. Yeah, we just got that contract. It's a 5-year contract, and we're super excited about it. Yeah,
such easy. I mean, such great. That's the perfect food for the show, right?
Totally. It's quick. It's easy. We can, the goal is when you go to a festival or a concert or anything, you don't want to be waiting a long time for food. Mm-hmm. So we can bust them out quick, and people are in and out.
But this isn't cold food.
Right. Yeah. We're cooking. We're cranking, man. I'll tell you. There's 2,000 people in there a night. And we're feeding all of them and serving them all beer and wine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
A lot of grilled cheese sandwiches.
Congratulations, man.
Thank
That's
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
5-year contract, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been a huge step up for us. And that's actually, luckily, brought us to the next point where we're looking at a new location. Hopefully, We're in negotiations to open up a spot in Oceanside, and
Okay.
hopefully the negotiations finish kind of soon. I think we're getting towards the finish line, and then we can start construction and stuff like that. So all you Oceanside people, we got some grilled cheese coming your way, hopefully.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
That's a great announcement, and congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
as well. But so now, speaking of Oceanside, speaking of picking locations, tell me about that. I mean, because locations are the key. I insure a lot of restaurants. I insure wineries. I insure places where it's hospitality. People
Yeah.
got to go there, and that's the destination. Do we want to be on this corner? Is it easy to find parking here?
Totally.
Is there another breakfast restaurant here? Why am I opening a breakfast restaurant
Yeah.
here? Those kind of decisions have to be made. There's so many more decisions that have to be made than other brick and mortars. What goes into that location?
Yeah, so I think depends on your brand. Some brands, they'll be like the Yard House, where they have this $1 million big restaurant, and there's tons of people going there all the time, no matter where it is.
And they got something for everybody on the menu.
Right. Whereas we kind of realized our brand is more focused around like being in a high traffic area.
Okay.
Like that's kind of like what the festival is.
Okay.
If there's a lot of people and there's 10 food vendors, we're going to get more than 1 out of 10. And that's kind of our goal.
Love it.
So we just want to be in high traffic areas. So that's how we picked the food hall. We know there's going to be a lot of people coming in there. Obviously the Moonlight, 2,000 people a day and no other options. So it's kind of a easy one. But the spot we're looking at in Oceanside is a downtown location, lots of foot traffic. So we're anticipating, cross your fingers, doing well there.
So now, okay, so that's a piece of it, and I love what you just said, being in a high traffic area. But it also sounds like you need to know that demographic, right? For
sure.
Because there are high traffic areas all around the country.
Yeah.
But there's a specific high traffic area that or a type of client that is like, yes, grilled cheese. Oh, okay, I'll be
For
right
sure.
there. Gourmet,
Yeah.
yes, I'll be right there.
Totally.
So what else goes into the demographics there?
I mean, I think if you had, let's just say, a food that isn't as universally known as grilled cheese, and I don't want to say anything bad about other foods, but
Hey, you're not cooking them.
Yeah, but like Indian food, like I love Indian food, but
Sure.
it doesn't have a massive appeal.
Got it.
So Indian food might not do well on this location. Whereas so every restaurant's different, man. It's hard to say, but we're close to the beach and Oceanside, or we're going to be close to the beach and Oceanside. There's tons of people walking by every day, all day, all night. Like you see a grilled cheese and you're hungry, you're like, okay, there's that, or there's, no offense to Indian food, like
Sure.
8 out of 10 might choose the grilled cheese. I would hope. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. I think that's lessons.
For sure.
That's the lesson right there, guys. That's the business lesson. We'll call that business lesson number 674.
74.
That's it. Knowing your demographic in traffic when choosing a location
For sure.
for the restaurant business. That's it, right? That's a key.
I think that's a huge part of it, but also like branding, like does your place look cool? Does it look clean? Like, does it smell good in there? Is the air conditioning good? Like, have you trained your staff to, when someone walks in, greet them with a smile and that type of stuff? Or are they not doing that? Like that, I think restaurants is one of the hardest things. And I've said since we started this restaurant, because I've been in the industry for a long time, if this one doesn't do well, I'm doing a different industry. It's like,
Really?
for sure. Like it's exhausting, and it's like you have to be HR, you have to be a chef, you have to be marketing, you have to be accounting, you have to be everything. It's
I don't believe you.
What's
because
harder?
I know a lot of restaurateurs, and it's an addiction. You guys are always looking for another location and another restaurant to open.
Right. Those are the people that are doing well. They're looking for locations. Man.
Well or not, they're always trying to think of, okay, well, you know what? A different concept. That's all. I just need to change this, tweak this, and I'll get a place right there, and I'll be perfect. I know a lot of them.
For sure. Yeah, I do too. And you're right. Like, I like to think I would do something else, just because the one thing I do miss is having weekends and holidays.
I hear
it's
you.
Like, I work a lot of 4th of July and this and that. It's like I have a kid, I have a wife that has a 9 to 5. So, like the goal for us in our business is to franchise and get rich and retire.
Yeah, I hear
and
you.
like we're on that path.
I love
like
it.
things are going well. Like I think after we open Oceanside and Moonlight's doing well, that's the next step
beautiful.
we're working on. Is not a location, it's to franchise and have other people open locations
Beautiful.
for us.
But
Yeah.
people need to understand that's not just the restaurant business. If you're a business owner, weekends and holidays, you got to make your own.
That's true. Yeah, I always want to be an entrepreneur, so I'll end up working forever anyways. And I do like working. It's like I like what we're doing. I like our brand. I like our people. I like my business partner.
That's great.
And I think both my wife and Devin's wife, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they both have a little bit of career jealousy, you know? Because they're like, oh, like you guys are doing this right now. You guys get to go out and taste food, or like, oh, you're working this beer festival and this famous, there's music playing and everyone's having a good time. And like my wife works and has a really hard job and she's stressed out all the time. So it's hard,
life. It's
like
different life.
Yeah, and I like my life.
I hear you.
Yeah, you're in the same boat. It's like, hey, what'd you do today? I had a podcast. I drank some wine. Like,
sure.
still work. Like you still have to do this.
Yeah.
But you got to choose when you do it and what you do and who's here with you. Like that's way better than having a boss tell you, hey, TPS reports.
That's the key to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Man. And I say it all the time. I mean, I pretty much work 24/7, and since these phones were invented, it's real serious, right?
Sure.
There is really no time off. But at the same time, I am choosing my time, right?
For sure.
And that's why we have that balance, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the briefcase, but you also got the glass of wine and the ability.
And I
to look
love
at the
it
beach.
when I'm right there, but I'm still, like,
for sure.
There's an event going on, Moonlight's killing it, and I'm just hanging out with my wife and baby, and like,
but
cool.
you're checking in.
I'm checking in, checking in. Hey, the money's still pouring in. Let's get another round of drinks,
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Talk about hiring a little bit. I mean, in the hospitality industry, for sure, personality makes so much, it's so important, right?
For sure.
And then at the same time, you've got these days and times when I've heard stories, hiring is very difficult. So now you want to find the right person, but it's they're so few and far between right now because a lot of folks aren't even really trying to work, from what I'm understanding. Now you tell me.
Yeah, so I don't know how or why, but we are very lucky compared to other restaurants, I believe.
Man, I can't tell. How many times have I said congratulations during this episode?
Thank you.
Man? You're
I think Devin and I, like, number one, we have always tried to pay like a little bit more than other places, hoping that will attract just, the people that are a little bit better or a little bit more, try harder, that type of thing. And we try and, I always, whenever we're going to make any change in the restaurant, I always think like, okay, how's this going to affect the people that are working? It's like, okay, we're going to add hamburgers. Oh, how hard would that be on them? Okay, we're not going to do that. I want the job to be easy and fun and a good work environment and safe and all that type of stuff. And I think it's easy to lose sight of that sometimes.
Okay.
But we really try and be like the best employer we can be. And obviously we make mistakes. Obviously we've done things that, okay, going back, I wouldn't have done it that way, that type of thing. But we really want to, because they're the most important thing, I can't run 3 stores by myself.
Sure.
Devin can't run it by himself. We need people. And we need people that care and try, or else it's gonna all fall apart.
Yeah. And you got to hire managers that kind of mirror your whole personality.
For sure. Yeah.
Ways.
So we spend a lot of time training people and working with them and getting them on the right page, but always positive reinforcement, positive encouragement. We really try and spend a lot of effort on making it a good place to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying other people don't do that, but I remember when we were opening Moonlight, we announced it on Instagram, and we had one guy, his name is Matt Linton. We love you, Matt. He reached out and he's like, hey, I want to work there whenever you guys open. And this was like 4 months before we opened. So then he'd check in every month. Hey, what's the timeline? So then once we opened, he was there the first day. He did the interview. We hired him, and he brought 4 friends.
Wow.
We're like, oh, awesome. We have people, because this was right when hiring was terrible. This was 4 months ago or whatever.
Sure.
And then we hired a manager named Trisha. She's also amazing, and I don't know how she did it, but she got another like 7 or 8 people. She got her friends' kids and her friends and everyone, and boom, we had a staff. Like,
wow.
Yeah, people are complaining they can't get one staff. We got 12, 15 people. So like I said, we were lucky. I don't know how it worked, but I think it's part of it's karma, part of it's being good people, part of it's, you got
to attribute it to the organization as well.
For sure. And I think part of it was, we have a good product and a good place that people want to work at, like you wouldn't want to work for just some random place where you don't know it, but you're like, oh, I've seen them. I like their Instagram. I like their food. I like what they're doing. I want to be part of that. Because you get to choose where you work, I
love it, man. And, like you said, you got a good organization, and the people at the top have the right mentality. And it's reminding me of what we were talking about in my office earlier, the book that Sammy Vega had recommended, Leaders Eat Last. You said you read that book. You like that book. Do you have another book recommendation for us?
I love reading business books, and anyone that wants to get in the food industry, the number one book you have to read is the E-Myth Revisited.
E-Myth Revisited.
Yeah, it was originally called the E-Myth. It was written in the 70s, and then they kind of rewrote it and changed some of the analogies and stuff. But it's just about scaling and growing your business. And the main takeaway from that, which I constantly tell myself and my partner and anyone that listens, is you want to work on your business, not for your business.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, just having that mentality is so powerful. You know, like, okay, like what am I doing right now? And is it growing the business, or am I just making a grilled cheese sandwich? And trust me, I've made a million grilled cheese sandwiches.
That's right.
But every time I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I should be, trying to book the next restaurant or marketing or whatever.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's why you're never gonna stop.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one. Another one is negotiating like your life depended on it. It's by Chris Voss. Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's this guy, he used to be a terrorist negotiator. He was like the number one terrorist negotiator in the world.
Okay.
And he became a consultant for business negotiations. And it's a great book where he talks about both sides of terrorist negotiations and how it relates to business and how really everything's a negotiation.
Sure.
You know, if your kid's like, hey, it's bedtime, or you tell your kid it's bedtime, he says, no, I'm going to stay up. Okay, now you're negotiating with him.
That's right.
Or your wife's like, hey, where should we go to dinner? Okay, we're negotiating. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
everything is negotiating. So it's a amazing book, and it's a really entertaining read. Those are the two that I've read. Or
So-
I've read a bunch, but that's one that.
Let's say, so I'm imagining at home that you read the book and then you hid it from your wife so she can't negotiate back.
Do
Do you
she's-
win them all?
No, she reads a lot of things too, but we read different things. So even if
Okay.
I told her, like, hey, you should read this, she probably wouldn't read it. But now that she's going to listen to this, maybe she'll start.
Yeah. She's like, that's why he's winning all the debates.
Definitely.
That's cool, man. I really appreciate you being here. I really liked what you were saying earlier, and I said it earlier, but I want to say it again. When you were talking about networking coming from your college times, that really resonates. That's really important right there. Wherever you can find networking is important because
For
in
sure.
growing your business going forward, but actually saying you found it within getting your education. That's priceless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I've
you're getting
been
so many
friends with
benefits.
these guys and now work with them on so many levels for 20 years. But another good one is the Chamber of Commerce. Wherever your local Chamber of Commerce is, there's always good people there they're there for networking. They're there to meet people. They're there to do things and help each other out. We're all growing our businesses together.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
And like I said,
And that's where I met you. I
Yes,
was at the Vineyard
exactly.
Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and you invited me to the show.
And don't
Thank you
forget
for
the
having
fact
me.
that I follow up, man. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's how we extended that relationship, and we will continue to extend that relationship. And speaking of that, as you thank me, I'm going to thank you because at that same mixer, I won some gift cards.
Oh, yeah. You went for the grilled cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah, you said you gave them to your daughters?
My daughter and my son.
There you go.
They went to Beauty and the Beast, and they got free grilled cheese.
Perfect. Yeah, and they
we
love
still
them?
have two more. Oh, they love them.
Good,
Of course
good,
they
good,
love
good.
them. Yeah, actually, that's, to be completely honest, that's the only reason my son wanted to go to Beauty and the Beast. He's like, oh, because I can get the free grilled cheese, so I'm going.
But you would have
but
bought
of
him a
course, he
grilled
liked the
cheese
show
anyways.
anyway. Of course. Yeah. Tickets aren't expensive or anything.
Exactly.
No, it's all good. I really appreciate you being here with us today,
course.
Justin. Man, this is awesome, man. This is fireworks. You really had a lot of great information for us, and I just really like your journey, man. I like your outlook. You told me before I got you in here that I wasn't gonna be able to get you to cry. You're living a good life.
I've had a great life. I'm very lucky. And that's one thing I kind of think about is we all have the ups and downs of life. That's part of the life journey. People are going to die. People are going to lose jobs, car accidents, all that stuff. And of course, those things are hard. But day to day, life is good, and if it's not, I feel bad for you, because you get to choose your outlook on things. And I just choose to be happy,
I respect it. 100%, man. Let's give some contact information for you. I want you guys to check out just come see him in person. Definitely go over to the Moonlight Theater because if you get a chance to go over there, you're going to see some great shows. They're having their best year and it's only going to get better. Bread and Cheese is going to always be there for the next few years. So I want you to check them out at Bread and Cheese Eatery on Instagram and breadandcheeseeatery.com. Come visit them
we're going to be in Oceanside hopefully in a couple months.
Oceanside sounds great.
Yep. And then also we cater parties, birthday parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs, anything. So give us a call or an email and we'll come out.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's thanks for the update on that, though.
Yeah, of course.
And make sure you check them out at Bread and Cheese Eatery on Instagram, where we're going to get all the updates as they come along. And check them out again, breadandcheeseeatery.com. I love it, man. Thanks, Justin, so much.
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
Fun.
Let's drink some more wine.
Let's drink, man. Cheers. Cheers to you. Same Business, Different Day. Thank you for listening to Same Business, Different Day. We truly appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and leave a nice comment on all platforms. It really helps our show. The Same Business, Different Day podcast is produced by A Different Day Radio, Star Fox Media, and James Russell.